In this video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to use the new JND449 square band to make a beautiful card using in combination with the new 3D embossing folders. So we've got Illusion and we've got a sort of Infinity. I think it's called an Illusion fan. I never get names right. So this one is what we're going to make, and I've done this one using the beautiful Infinity. So you get this sort of stunning tartan pattern. It really is, with the 3D. An amazing way to give texture to a card and get away from that fear of white space. All of the colour is concentrated in the centre, but it's not too plain. It really does get away from that white space. But in this demonstration, so I'm using them all, I'm going to show you using the Illusion fan. But if you'll notice, what we've got here is we've got a continuing pattern that's larger than the folder itself. I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to need a square band, and we're going to use these two outside lines from the square band to start with. So I've cut a piece of card already to 5 3/4, which is the optimal section of design. So 5 3/4 by 5 inches, because I want to make a 5 by 7 panel. And I'm simply going to use these two pieces of dies, so the two separate dies, and I'm going to tape them together evenly, just there, so that they're just touching each other. That gives me the perfect cut to split. So in about 2/3 of the way down, and evenly, and you can judge this by eye or you can measure if you want to, we simply want to put that down and run that through our machine and cut it. And I am going to cut this just to show you how this cuts. Nice and simple. We'll bring in our Kaleido, and we'll run that through and cut it. And that will give us our two separate sections, top and bottom, with the perfect match. And we get a piece in the middle which is absolutely spot on for using as a wrap on other projects. You could stamp your sentiment on that and just put that on and kind of wrap that round. So we'll pop that to one side. So what we want to do now is to emboss our two panels. So I'm going to open our folder and make sure, check which one is the innie, which one is the outie. And facing up, so the outie is facing up, I'm going to pop the two pieces in to the folder, meet them back up and close my folder, and just emboss that. And that will keep the pattern going over that break. And it shows that we can actually emboss if I put the right size of plate on. So for the Kaleido, it's a 5mm plate, and simply run that through. That will emboss those two panels that I want. So you can see now I have two perfectly embossed panels where the pattern continues when I do the split. And these measurements will work exactly on a piece of card that's 5 by 7. So now I want to introduce the colour into this. So I'm just going to use a piece of paper, and I'm using the Fusion inks, and I'm going to be using Blueberry, Dragon Fruit and Passion Fruit. And I'm going to start with the Passion Fruit, and approximately 1/3 of the way down I'm just putting random colour on. So there is my Passion Fruit, here is my Dragon Fruit, and then I'm going to finish off with a little bit of Blueberry. You can use any colour that you want, any colour mix you want for these, but I'm putting nice thick layers on so that I really get that beautiful blue gold shine, should I say. You can see there, I've got that, that's dry, but the shine is coming from the gold in there. So we want to give that a little bit of reaction, so I'm going to take a little bit of water and a fan brush and simply pick up some of the water and flick on some nice large drops of water, and the colour will bleach where the water falls. So you can see there, that's already starting to bleach, and will only take about a minute to dry. Once it's dry, and I have a piece here that is already dry. Let's just wipe down our water off, as we don't want to affect our pieces. As you can see there, that looks as if you spent hours at that background, and you really haven't. So we can now simply bring in our 2 pieces of card that we've embossed, and I'm going to add some foam tape onto these. So a little bit running across the bottom, and then where each little section touches, and I'm using 2mm foam tape, as I find that's exactly the right size. So we'll do the same on the other piece. You don't need to go around all of the sides. You simply need to cover the top and the bottom on this, as that's where they'll actually be touching. So grab a little bit more tape, put a little piece on here, and then a little piece here. So trust the measurements. So it's 5 inches by 5 3/4, and then on a 7 by 5 panel, that will give you the perfect space in the middle to put the belly band on. So on the top, I'm just going to pop that piece on like that. You can see it frames it. I mean, I love this. You could use this edge just like that. It's a great way to give a lot of effect and feeling to a card or a project. So just removing the tape, and then pop that exactly parallel to the bottom. So you can see there, we've got that continuing pattern with that beautiful colour on the inside. So now we want to add the belly band. So you would simply take another piece, and I'm using coconut white essential card. Bring your belly band in, and you just want to cut that panel there. So you simply want to tape that down and run that through and cut that, and that will give you the perfect size and shape. Now obviously I've already got one cut here, but what you get with this one is you get a beautiful stitch line all around this sort of postage edge here, then like a postage square in the center. So I'm going to add a little bit of foam tape running through the center of that. Again, I'm going to add a little bit at the edges so that it doesn't dip down. If you're going to support something, support it, and it won't add extra weight on, not that much weight. And 2mm foam tape means that this would still go as a normal letter through post, so you wouldn't have to post it extra. So we simply take that off, and we drop that in. You see there, you've got that perfect little bit of colour just popping through. Go from the back and trim off the extra pieces. Just snips that a little bit. So you see there, just got that little pop of colour. So I'm going to take a square of scrap card that I've made. So I've made up a piece of scrap card in exactly the same way. So exactly the same way with the same 3 colours, and I've added the water drops on there. So I've cut a square of that, and then using again your coconut white card, I'm going to take the happy birthday, the outside dotted line and the outside cut line together, and I'm going to use a long piece of tape, pick up the sentiment which says happy birthday, put that in the center to pick up that one, center to pick up that one, pop that on a piece of white card and run that through, which gives me the absolute perfect little sentiment there. And again, I've used just the plain die from this set on a piece of the coloured paper to cut me this little square, and then I'll spray glue that, add that onto there so the colour pops through. We have one already done, and I've added a little bit of foam tape onto here, and that just goes in the centre. So we're bringing the same colours from the outside into this one, just like that. I'm then going to use a piece of scrap card, and I'm going to cut the Anastasia flowers. So this is the JND448 Anastasia flowers. And these, again, in that paper are just perfect. So all I need to do to shape these is bring in my moulding foam. I'm going to turn those over. I'll just do 3 so that we can see. This is on the Crafts 2 flower moulding foam with the matching tool. Go all around on the back to turn all your petals out, turn it over and scribble in the middle, or press just to get you that beautiful turn. And then I'm simply using some of the Craft Artist dewdrops, which are perfect little glass beads. They even have the little water sort of air bubble in there, which makes them look like they're water almost. A little bit of glue glaze, easiest way to glue these because it's quick and quick dry, into the center. And we simply add a dewdrop into the middle of each flower, just like that. So there I have my 6 flowers. Any spares I can use for other projects. And our card blank I've made is 5.5 by 7.5. So a nice, simple, easy size. And I'm just going to flat glue that on. Using a wet glue, certainly using the Craft Artist glue really helps, because I can make sure I can move it around until I'm happy that it's right. And then we're simply going to add our flowers on, and brings all of those colours together. So I've got them going off in one direction and our little grouping at the bottom. But by using the embossing folder that way and splitting it, we get that absolutely perfect white space without having too much white space. So here's the original I made, and here's using the Infinity, and here's using the Illusion fan. 2 very simple cards, but really effective with texture and colour and a real pop. For more ideas, hints, tips and inspiration, why not visit the Crafting with John next door on Crafts 2 group on Facebook. Enjoy.